Mental disorders place a momentous burden on families, on government, on society, and on the healthcare system, but perhaps none so momentous as for those individuals who suffer. In the year 2000, doctor visits for mood disorders in Canada had escalated 36% over the previous 5 years. The World Health Organization reported mental and behavioral disorders are common, affecting more than 25% of all people at some time during their lives. In Canada, a total of 3,681 people committed suicide in 1997. Suicide is the 5th leading cause of death in Canada. Over 90% of suicide victims have a significant psychiatric illness at the time of their death. Recent studies have shown that many of these disorders can be mitigated by nutritional interventions. In past months, Health Canada has declared many of these safe natural products drugs and have begun to deny Canadians choice and access by seizing supplements and telling supplement users to return to their previous drug therapies. This is the story of 9 Canadian women who, desperate for solutions, have taken their plight to the House of Commons. In Ottawa, they became known as the Women with the Red Umbrellas.
Honourable Member from Nanaimo, Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, visiting Parliament today is a courageous group of women, the Women with the Red Umbrellas. They came from across the country to share their stories of recovery from the debilitating disease of bipolar depression. These women lived through tragedy until they discovered a simple vitamin and mineral supplement which helped them to recover their lives and restore them to their families. Over the past year, Health Canada has initiated progressive restrictions on their supplement. The simple vitamin and mineral formula has been turned back at the border, and people calling Health Canada are being told the product has been banned. Clinical studies have been published in peer-reviewed journals like the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry, the Journal of Child and Adolescent Psychopharmacology, and unbelievably, research at the University of Calgary, which was funded by the Alberta Science and Research Authority, was shut down by Health Canada, even though there's no evidence of harm to anyone taking this product. These people are here representing thousands across the country who feel their health and security is being threatened by this Health Canada embargo. Will the minister ensure access to this product is not impeded and that Canadians' right to freedom of choice and personal health care is respected?
The honourable member for London Fanshawe.
Yes, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to stand with a courageous group of women who've come to Ottawa hoping someone will listen to them. The issue is freedom of choice in natural health products. They've been taking a simple vitamin and mineral supplement that is now being withheld from them. I'd just like to give a brief background on the situation. Over the last 40 years, there's been an explosion of scientific information about the importance of vitamins and minerals in building a healthy body. Now, faced with increasing health claims about the benefits of natural health products, in 1997, Minister Alan Rock moved to bring natural health products under a drug-style directorate. Over 1 million Canadians responded, saying, hey, hands off our natural health products, they're low-risk products. The Health Committee was commissioned to look into this and to hear from Canadians. After consultations, they published a report with some 53 recommendations. And then along came a transition team for an Office of Natural Health Products, and they recommended changes to the Antiquated Food and Drugs Act. Now, I have a private member's bill right now before the House, Bill C-420, that addresses the concerns about health claims for natural health products, and basically would move natural health products under a food directorate rather than a drug-style adversarial directorate. Now, the product that these ladies have been taking has been researched at the University of Calgary. There was nearly $500,000 fund, Alberta funded from the Alberta Science and Research Council, funded research underway, which unfortunately was stopped by Health Canada. The research results have already been published in several peer-reviewed journals and discussed at psychiatric and psychological gatherings across the country and even around the world. Now, these ladies have come from across the country because they're concerned about their future and their well-being. They feel threatened, and their families, by an obstruction from Health Canada that's now preventing their natural health product from being available in Canada. So the question really needs to be asked is, why is Health Canada imposing such draconian measures on enforcing an antiquated clause in the Food and Drugs Act, one that is under discussion and under review at the present time? And is it justified in putting these people at risk? They're here to tell their stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I might have first, I'm sorry, Autumn Stringham from Alberta, all the way from Alberta. Autumn?
Thank you. I am from Alberta, and I apologize. I feel like coming out into Ottawa has been a real eye-opener for me. And I have gained a new respect for this country. I love this country and what it stands for democracy and for freedom, and I'm so grateful for that. On Friday afternoon, I found out that Health Canada had put an advisory on their website about the vitamin supplement that I'm taking. And they said that it's a dangerous drug and that they recommend that Canadians don't consume it. And I was really concerned about that because I'm 6 months pregnant and I have been eating this supplement for a lot of years. And out of genuine concern and wondering why this is dangerous, I put in a phone call to Health Canada, where I was immediately flipped over to a mental health crisis line, where they have a script that says that you are mentally ill, you need to be under the care of your physician, please go to the hospital. If you run out of your supplement, you will not have this dangerous drug anymore. We're looking out for your best interest. I was upset by this, and I told this nurse that I had been well for many years. And I asked her why it was dangerous, and she said it was information that she could not give me. So I said that I would like to make a complaint about this because I couldn't get any help. And when they put me through to another line, it was the complaint line that said, Health Canada is a regulatory board for this. We have the highest standards. We're protecting the Canadian people. We're looking out for your best interest. You can leave a message, but it won't be answered. All of us have made calls to that line out of concern. A number of weeks ago, hundreds of shipments of this vitamin and mineral product were seized at the border and turned back. And there are about 3,000 people in this country that use this supplement, many of them for the same reasons that we do, and they're all really scared, really nervous about it, really terrified, because it seems like a rather rash decision, and then with no explanation. And when we call, we're told that we're mentally ill and we should go back to the hospital. I was offended by that, and I want you to understand why. Because I have been well for 7.5 years. I haven't seen a psychiatrist for 7.5 years. But I was very, very, very sick before that. My family has an incredible history of mental illness. I lost my grandfather to suicide when I was 5, and I lost my mother to suicide when I was 21. I see an inheritance of mental illness in all of my mother's children in one degree or another. And I inherited her illness full force. I spent years, through my early teen years and into my 20s, as an extremely ill woman. And I spent my time in the psychiatric units. In a 3-year period, I tried 13 drugs, many of them in various combinations. I developed an autoimmune disease. I developed liver damage as a result of these drugs, and they didn't work for me. I'm not anti-medication, but my mother died taking medication. We've never been anti-doctor. I loved my doctor. My psychiatrist wanted to help me, but he didn't have the tools that it took to help me. My family suffered for 2 years after the death of my mother. She left 9 children that she had given birth to and 1 adopted daughter. And several of them were still home. Her youngest children were only 6 and 7 at the time when she took her life. And so the cost to our family in suicide was phenomenal, and there is a cost that every Canadian pays to suicide. There are many, many suicides in this country daily. So this is an issue of life for me. Sorry. 2 years after my mother's suicide, my dad was just so desperate. You see, my brother, who had been diagnosed with bipolar as well, and as a young male with bipolar, he was extremely violent and agitated, and the whole family felt that they were physically at risk. People in the community felt like they were at risk. He was stocking weapons, and it was very, very scary to be around at that time. And my dad, out of desperation, was doing his work as a property manager. he was in a church hallway talking to a man about carpets and toilets and regular things to do with the job that he had. And he broke down and expressed his concern about his family. He told about the suicide. He told about his children and his fear for all of his children. And this gentleman, who was a volunteer for this church, said, "I've been in the agriculture feed business for 20 years, and your boy sounds like a pig with ear and tail biting syndrome." And he explained how farmers for years and years and years have used trace minerals to get their pigs not to be agitated. And as a result, they went down to the store out of sheer desperation. The medication wasn't working for him or I. I was in the psych ward at that time. They went down to the store. They purchased all of the different combinations for, in human grade consumable form, but they bought all the ingredients that they would have put in this pig feed, and they started feeding it to my son, or to my brother. And as a result, he was off of his medication within a few weeks. And I did another stay on a suicide watch, and when I got out of the hospital, my father offered to take me into his care. So my husband drove me down, and within a week I had discontinued 3 of the 5 of the medications I was on. It took me 2 months to get off of the rest. And I've been stable ever since. This is my whole life. And I need the Canadian people to protect it, because we cannot get answers from the government officials who have been elected to protect our health. As a result of our story, many people in Southern Alberta started trying the same thing and having the same success, and as they documented their success, the University of Calgary picked it up and decided to do some research. And the research moved forward. They went through every appropriate method for getting permission to do this research, and after it had been published in the Clinical Journal of Psychiatry as having some effect with mental illness, a phenomenal effect with mental illness, Health Canada decided that these vitamins were drugs and shut down the study. And so they tell us it's dangerous because it hasn't been studied, but they won't allow it to be studied because vitamins are now drugs when they work for people. I'm just appealing. I came here to see the Prime Minister. I can't get through on the phone to Anne McClellan. We've been stonewalled at every turn. There are 3,000 of us that are really, really afraid. So on Friday when I called these women, I had never seen them before or met them, but I had heard their stories too through our Truehope support, and read letters from them and heard of them. When we gathered together, we decided that we needed to be rational, that we needed to show that this is the new face of mental illness in Canada, that there is hope. All of these women have similar stories to mine, and they would love to have the opportunity to share their stories and to proclaim themselves as mentally well. We don't need to be brushed off by Health Canada. We don't need to be sent through to mental health support lines and told that we are mentally ill and need to go back to the hospital. If we were going to think ourselves well, if this was a placebo, we would have done it years ago, the first time a doctor gave us a medication, because all of us want to live, all of us want to be well. And so I appeal to Health Canada to hear our stories and to give us some credit, and I appeal to the Prime Minister to act on our behalf. We've met so many wonderful MPs. We are the ladies with the red umbrellas that are standing outside near the Peace Tower, asking for help quietly and patiently as we wait for our government to notice us. And many of the MPs have come forward. We've talked to MPs from every party, and they have been absolutely wonderful, but none of them have the ability to immediately intervene in this. And so we're appealing to the Prime Minister, and we're appealing to Anne McClellan to see that we are well and that we are rational and that we are desperate Canadian women who are seeking to protect ourselves and our families and essentially our children. And I thank you for that.
Hi, my name is Sabina Colson. I live in Pembroke, Ontario. From the time that I was a toddler, I've lived in a world of bipolar and obsessive-compulsive delusions. Was on medication for about 16 years. For the last 6 or 7 years, my medical costs averaged between $1,200 and $1,800 a month. That was not including the cost of the many times I had to be hospitalized, sometimes for months on end. I feel that in watching the news, I always was under the impression that healthcare in Canada is in trouble because of the tremendous cost involved, and I don't understand why now that I'm able to function, I'm able to work, I'm now paying taxes, I'm not a burden on the system anymore. I feel that this right is being taken away from me. It's not only going to reduce me back to not having any quality of life, but it's also going to take the dignity away from me to be able to be a productive member of society, to not be a burden on the system. And I just ask that you please let me keep my quality of life. Let me continue as a productive member of society. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak right now? Lou? Okay, Suzanne? Just a few words.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Acton-Gervais, and I as well would like to mirror what Autumn was saying. We've met some fantastic MPs and ministers, and we really appreciate you lending us your ears and giving us your time. We do realize how busy you are, and we are here because we are here to protect our rights and freedom. We're here, all these women, peacefully to ask that our access to this product to be imported into Canada is not restricted. As well, I'm here to put a question forth. This is a possible cure. This is science. This is a made in Canada possible cure. This illness knows no boundaries. Why can't Canada lead the way? Why can't Canada do what is morally right? Why can't Canada support the research at the University of Calgary? We ask you, the Canadian public, the MPs, to please do what is morally right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Patricia Shantz.
I'm from Calgary, Alberta. I came out here searching for answers, coming to my government, the people who protect me, who are essentially in charge of my life, looking for answers. We have gotten so many different answers. We have been getting conflicting reports. We've been told that as participants, we can drive down to the United States, purchase a 3-month supply of our supplements, and drive them across the border. Well, that seems true at some border crossings, not true at other border crossings. At some border crossings, people are being told that they need a letter from Anne McClellan from Health Canada to be able to bring their supplements back. When we ask Health Canada about the letter, there is no letter. We're very confused women. We are upset. We're fighting for our lives here. And when you go to ask your government what's going on, what they're doing, and you get 10 answers, that's really scary. That's really scary. I love this country and I'm proud of my government. But right now, I'm really scared at what they're doing. It seems like everyone's getting a different answer, not just us. MPs are confused. No one knows what's going on. And we just beg of you, Canada, to help us get these answers. We need answers from Health Canada, and we need one answer, not 10 different answers to the same question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christy, and I've come to Ottawa from Red Deer, Alberta. I'm here with these wonderful women fighting for my right to take a natural supplement. The supplement consists of everything that's available on the health food store's shelves today. Itself is not available in the health food store, but it's made such a difference for me. Without it, I fear for my life. That's not a threat, it's a fear. I know that for a decade before this supplement, I made over a dozen suicide attempts, and I really am lucky to be standing before you today. The supplement has kept me well for 2 years. I have not been hospitalized. Before that, I was on a revolving door, in and out, in and out, in and out. I was a tremendous tax to the government and to the people of Canada. And I don't understand why something that is working for me is being taken away, and why we're being told to go back to the hospital when we're well. So please stand up and do what's right and fight for Canada and for our rights and our freedoms. Thank you.
Okay, MP Reed Alley would just like to say a word.
In the last Parliament, I was the Vice Chair of the Health Committee when we did the review of natural health products in this country. And I think we as a committee came forward with some pretty unanimous recommendations about the use of supplements and how they should be viewed by Health Canada and the Canadian public. And one of our recommendations, of course, was that a separate food directorate be set up that would include these supplements and that would not be placed under drugs. Unfortunately, the government has ignored that particular recommendation, and so these ladies come to Ottawa today as a result of inaction of Health Canada and the health minister at that time having this problem with this food supplement. And I think that it clearly shows that there's a problem with the way things are handled in this country concerning natural health products. And certainly my colleague James Lunny and myself are going to continue our efforts to try to see that this problem is taken care of so that people like this, Canadians who depend upon supplements for their very life, are not denied that which is really their right.
So, thank you. We're available for questions.
I just wanted to ask, you took it several years up until now. How were you receiving it? Was it through the mail or?
Originally, it was just off of the grocery store shelves, where it was just a combination based on this swine feed discovery. So it was just whatever, I could just go down and pick up the different ingredients. Some of it was brought in from the United States in liquid form, but it was inconsistent. And so, and it was hard to develop a placebo with so many different tablets and things like that. So when the university decided that they wanted to do a double-blind placebo-controlled study in order to prove what thousands of Canadians already knew, they developed it into an all-in-one supplement. And that was produced in the States, it's sold in the United States, and it's imported for personal use into Canada. So I've been using this program for 7.5 years. I've also had 2 healthy babies during those years, and I'm pregnant with my 3rd, so I trust that it isn't dangerous. And
From the States?
we can order it, but it's pretty tough to get it across the border. Sometimes it comes in. Patricia had a friend who drove from Calgary yesterday to pick up her product. When she got into the United States, she picked it up. She called back to the Alberta border to make sure that she wouldn't be hassled coming back through, because some of the women have been reduced to tears and told that it's an illegal drug, you're not allowed to have it, and you have to beg and make a scene to get it. And so they said, don't even try. So this woman drove back up through BC, and the BC border had no trouble. She declared it. They had no trouble getting it in. It's just mass confusion. We just need an answer.
I went on the Health Canada site. This page, you said they just put that there the other day.
That was on Friday, yeah.
Friday. It does say there are risks associated. It doesn't say what, or a risk. Have they ever told you what that is?
No, they haven't. And we've heard from different MPs that there have been different risks associated with it. They haven't told us. Apparently, we can't answer. We wouldn't understand the answer if we got it. We just get the mental health crisis line. But what I do know is any of us could tell you the risks associated with our previous treatment. If I were to show you the side effects of my drugs that I took on a scroll, it would hit the floor and keep on rolling. There's no death as a result of vitamins and minerals, and most of these ingredients have been available for at least 40 years on the store shelves in Canada.
If they want to call it a drug, would you be amenable to having them go through the process of the testing? I know it can be lengthy to do that, but
as long as the access isn't restricted, that's an issue. But I really believe firmly that vitamins and minerals are not drugs. Drugs are synthetic things that are put together that have a lot of side effects and that can be dangerous. People die from medication complications often. They don't die from vitamins and minerals.
saying it's a drug because it makes a claim to do something, is that?
Well, it wasn't a drug for the first years. And if the fact that a vitamin and mineral actually makes it a drug, I'd like to know where the logic is in that. The ingredients didn't change, and it's vitamins and minerals.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yes, please.
Just on the point of drugs, if vitamins and minerals have always been traditionally in this country, they've always been public domain. They're not drugs. But of course, in the last 40 years, there's been an explosion of information about how important these things are in building healthy bodies. So the question is, why should we put a low-risk product through a millions of dollars of testing? Who's going to pay the cost? It's going to drive the cost up to consumer if we do that. Now, let's do the research. That's great if they want to do it. But who's going to pay the cost of that for something that is really low risk? And then when will it become available, if ever? And that's one of the questions for something that is low risk. The other thing is that as far as safety goes, the Alberta Science and Research Council that approved the funding for a $500,000 study, they did a risk assessment of the components of the product, as did the University of Calgary. It had to go through peer review and ethics committee before the research was conducted. And there's no one has ever demonstrated any risks associated with this particular product. As with most vitamin and mineral products, the adverse reaction rate is so low, it basically is not even on the scale. So it's lower than Tylenol or aspirin, or peanuts for that matter.
The problem with it, I'm assuming here, is that because it's used to treat something serious like depression as opposed to other vitamin supplements out there that are just supposed to generally make you healthier. Is that...
We don't understand really what...
And that bothers me, because if that's true, then eating an orange for the vitamin C for scurvy, does that mean oranges are drugs? Does that mean if we have an orange tree in our backyard, we're a drug pusher? You know, you have to we're not just looking at one supplement here. Yes, that's our case, but look at it across the board. If that's true, then vitamin C is a drug.
St. John's wort treats depression, right? So.
And it's not a drug, is it?
Yeah, no.
Can I make a comment? My comment too is that I can't claim to fully understand how these supplements have returned my mental well-being back to as normal as I think I can be. I also did not exactly understand how the drugs that I was given were supposed to work. Now, they did not help me, but I do understand, and I did see on black and white, the fact that I developed diabetes, that many times I was hospitalized because my sugar level was in the coma range. At one time I was hospitalized, my sugar went up to 59. It's supposed to be 7 at the highest. I also know that my liver became enlarged, and all of my liver enzyme tests came back really abnormal, and I was sent to specialists, and they told me that the medication was leading to cirrhosis of the liver. So I don't understand maybe fully how this supplement works, but I do know that my tests are now coming back normal, that I threw away my insulin under medical guidance. I do not even need a special diet. And that's virtually unheard of with diabetic patients. So can you explain to me what the danger is in me taking this supplement? The drugs were literally killing me, and they would have led to extremely serious health risk.
If I can just... It's really important to understand, too, that we're not asking people to drop their drugs and go and get vitamins and minerals. That would be extremely unsafe. This program Truehope has set up counsels people to work with their doctors, and many of us have the support of our physicians, and so we're not trying to be radical here and say drop your drugs and go on vitamins and minerals. We're saying that there is a treatment that has been discovered in Canada that may well change the face of mental illness for many more people than the 3,000 that are using it now.
Anyone who says it didn't help them or it just didn't benefit? I mean, that's the case with most things. It doesn't work for everybody.
In the four studies that have been published, I think the average is about 80% effectiveness. That's what they're saying. It certainly doesn't work for everyone. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
your time,
you.
everyone.